wait until that circle, see the circle right in the center. Okay. You are live now.
Welcome, everyone. This is a special session meeting tonight. Again, we apologize. We had a little technical difficulties. I hope you all got logged into the new YouTube app, and we'll get started. I call this meeting to order. First, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. This meeting is to have a discussion and consideration of a resolution for employee compensation in case of mandated closures. We hope everyone is safe out there and do follow the protocol that the states have put in place. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Gailey, and you'll read off what we have.
Mr. Malone, our first order and topic is discussion and consideration of a resolution for employee compensation in case of mandated closure. If you could ask for a motion and a second on that.
Okay, I need a motion.
I motion.
So we
Ms.
have
Nance,
Phelan Nance has made a motion.
I need a second, please.
Second.
Who was that, please? Said second, Mark.
Yes.
Mark Kaniga, second. And board members, when we do vote, I will just go down the line and ask you to say yay or nay, because I can't, instead of making one at once. I'll do an individual roll call.
At this time, I'd like to read the resolution and further explain it moving forward. The resolution of the Board of School Trustees of the Lawrenceburg Community School Corporation. Whereas the Lawrenceburg Community School Corporation, from here on called the School Corporation, acknowledges that the coronavirus disease 2019, also COVID-19, has been deemed a pandemic by the national and global health organizations. And whereas confirmed cases of COVID-19 have been reported in Indiana, and whereas the Board of School Trustees will cooperate with the Dearborn County Health Department, the Indiana State Department of Health, and the U.S. Center for Disease Control in addressing the spread of COVID-19 to and through our community. And whereas employees of the school corporation had or may have their regular work hours reduced or otherwise disrupted due to the exposure to or contraction of COVID-19 or due to the response to the pandemic by the school corporation or other school systems and government entities. And whereas the board wishes to minimize the extent practical, the impact of exposure, contraction, or school and governmental responses to the pandemic on its employees' earnings and benefits. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Board of School Trustees hereby, number one, authorizes the superintendent to make or negotiate, as case may be, such changes to the pay, benefit, and leave policies as the superintendent deems necessary or prudent to assist employees who suffer financial hardship as a result of circumstances directly related to the COVID-19 pandemic. And number two, directs its administration to review the impact of any school closing and or if superintendent deems any other measures necessary to assist employees as a result of other circumstances related to COVID-19. And number three, authorizes the school corporation's administration to take all and actions necessary or desirable to carry out the intent of this resolution. Board of School Trustees as the Lawrenceburg Community School Corporation. I do want to take just a minute to explain to our audience what this resolution would mean if it was passed. If the board passes this resolution, it means that if our school employees, our hourly employees, which is our classified staff, or our certified staff, if they have reduced hours or if they only work a shortened amount of time, they would still be compensated their full regular pay. So for example, if any staff member as principals has offered opportunities for them to help contribute once spring break ends to the activities of e-learning, contacting families, helping with food preparation, deliveries, all of those different things that if they only help contribute a short amount of time, they would still be compensated their full amount of pay for those even reduced hours. So that is kind of what it means. I also do want to say that we did offer to staff, and this is still open, that staff may voluntarily opt out of any kind of work or help to the school corporation. If they do voluntarily opt out, that would mean then that they would not be paid in this case. But this does mean, if passed, that if they have reduced hours, less hours, work less hours, they still would be paid for those regular hours. I'll open it up if there's questions for me specifically on the resolution. I don't know if you want to go board member by board member first.
Yeah,
let's come on.
Let's do that. So let's start off with, who do we have first there? Mr. Miller.
I have no questions.
All right. Ms. Nance.
I have no questions.
Ms. Ribble.
I have no questions.
Mr. Jansen.
I have no questions.
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Kaniga.
Just a quick question, Mr. Neely. Does this also include the transportation, such as bus drivers? Obviously, they're not going to be, so they can afford the opportunity as well.
Actually, Mr. Mullen, in the letters that I sent out to staff, or sorry, Mr. Kaniga, the letter that I did send out to staff does provide them an opportunity that when we, next week after spring break ends, when we start doing meal preps, we will be doing the opportunity to pick up or delivery. So those deliveries, we will be using the bus routes. So I've given that opportunity to bus drivers. Bus drivers may be able to participate by running their routes each day for us. We will put assistants on there to help deliver them with. So they would stop at the addresses and someone would drop off the meals that we would have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
A lot of information going back and forth. It's kind of hard to remember everything.
Yes. So there, every category in the corporation, we have provided them an opportunity. It may be, as we said, reduced hours or alternating days, but we are providing them opportunities to continue to work, and we would be able to compensate them for that.
And I think to make it clear to everybody, because it is a little confusing sometimes, and Mr. Gailey, if I'm wrong, please let me know. But basically what he's saying is all classified and certified personnel, along with bus drivers, are going to be offered an opportunity to do some kind of work or help out as needed for the administration team. If they do come in, and if they only work an hour, they're still going to get paid whatever amount of hours they were supposed to get paid for that day. If the administration says there's nothing for them to do, as long as they were opted in to try and come in the past, they will still get paid for that day also. The only way someone will not get paid is that if they opt out and says, no, I am not willing to come in and clean or come in and deliver meals or whatever their administration team asks of them. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I know many of the administrators have sent out to their individual staff like Google Forms where they will track. So if they're an instructional assistant and they've been asked to reach out to students or families, then those instructional assistants or classified staff would document that in a Google form so that we can even track their limited work too. So their work will be tracked through their principals as well.
Great. All right. I know it's kind of different, but I see there's quite a few people online. Are there any questions that anybody in the audience may have about this?
They can use the chat window.
You can use the chat window
to the right of the screen.
to the right of the screen and chat your question, and we'll have it pulled up and we can answer it for you. So we'll give it a minute or so and see if anybody has anything.
Yes, and some of the feed is slightly delayed, so if you see us wait to see a response, then we will respond to that. We will get to, there's a few questions that are coming in that are more general questions. We will get to those questions a little bit here towards the end. Right now, we are only focusing on the resolution at this time. So I see that there's a couple questions. If you can hold more general questions about the school year and activities till later on, we will address those towards the end. One question that we do have is, will the current staff be enough to handle the current needs, or will there be a need for volunteers? Right now, we do feel that our current staff will be able to handle the needs at this time.
Great.
At this time, that is the only, there's one general question which we will get to, I think, later on.
Okay.
So the question that someone had about, is school canceled the rest of the school year and be an online school? We will get to that here in just a little bit.
All right, we get a vote now on this.
Please.
All right, so we are going to vote on the discussion and consideration of the resolution for employee compensation in case of mandated closure. I will call your name and please say yay or nay, or yes or no. Make it simple. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Nance?
Yes.
Ms. Rybold?
Yes.
Mr. Jansen?
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson?
Yeah.
Mr. Kaniga?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. This passes 7-0. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the board. In this hard time, I think we did the right thing, and I know our classified and certified staff will really appreciate it, because last thing we want to do is lose good help, and we do appreciate everything they do. Mr. Kaniga, or Mr. Gailey?
One other topic, kind of in conjunction. I know there's some coming in. Let me just kind of go through a couple of those, and then there's a few more topics I do want to kind of mention. One question, as I say at the very beginning, the school canceled the rest of the school year and being online school. As we have stated, the answer is no. At this time, we are only addressing April. As I've shared with parents and families, we are still hopeful that if everybody follows the governor's orders and they make sure they use social distancing, washing their hands, and stay away from a lot of activities, that we hope that we can flatten that curve and potentially be able to resume school. We will address May at the end of April. So at this time, the answer to that would kind of be no at this time. There are some other questions. Get to those. Another question was, would substitutes be allowed to volunteer? At this time, we are only using our staff. We have had people ask to volunteer or help out. We will reach out if you would like to email me. If you would like an opportunity to volunteer, if we need help, we will put you on a volunteer list. At this time, though, we plan to use our current staff. That way we can give them opportunities to be able to earn their pay. So at this time, we do not need volunteers, but if you want to email me, I can create a list. That way, if we do get short, that we would then have a list to be able to draw from.
Any other questions?
There is, for staff who have an autoimmune deficiencies, will there be precautions taken if they do opt in? Yes, we will take all precautions necessary to help staff. So please do contact us, and we will continue that to be able to assist them in some different areas. Yes, and we can post the motion that was passed. We can post that on our website tomorrow. So I know someone asked if we can post the motion into the comments section. We will post that tomorrow on the website. So then another question is it e-learning after spring break? Yes, as we had said, we sent out an email with a calendar at the end of that letter on Friday. We encourage parents to be able to read that, look at the calendar. It is based upon that calendar still for the month of April. Again, how can bus drivers still get their pay? As we had said, they will be able to help us drive their routes starting next week. Our office, my secretary, has been reaching out today to bus drivers, but you can reach out to me if you did not get contacted. So the question is all cafeterias working all together at the same time in one kitchen, or is it in shifts? I will be meeting with the cafeteria managers on Wednesday and looking at all those logistics. They will then reach out to their cafeteria staff to show. So no, all of them will not be working jointly together, cooking the food in one kitchen. We potentially will only use one kitchen, but we have talked about logistics. So Wednesday, I meet with cafeteria managers to talk about those logistics, and then they will reach out to their staff. So the question became, how will that work with the new stay-home order that was issued till April 6th, or is it stay-at-home closed till then? If you look in the frequently asked questions document from the governor's office, it does talk about, can you still go and pick up meals from your school? Can the meals still be delivered from school? And the answer is yes. We may still be able to provide meals and deliver them to the homes. So that is in the frequently asked questions document provided by the governor's office, and we did receive clarification from one of their assistants. At this time, looks like that are all the questions, and we will come back to the questions part. So we're going to go through a few more topics, and then we will come back and I'll try to check out the questions again. Mr. Mullen, I did want to kind of bring up for board members, and just kind of as we are kind of looking at everything, I think we need to be responsible to our taxpayers. One question I would like to bring up or recommend to the board members to consider is looking at our extracurricular activities for the springtime. In my opinion, I think we need to be prudent that if we are not having activities right now, then we should not be paying those stipends for the spring activities at this time. I did go through the extracurricular activity schedule, and I did include that in the folder for board members today, and kind of some of my recommendations on what those changes would be. So, for example, stipends that are non-base building awards, so special education license, high ability license, early college project leading the way, middle school courses for high school, DLI, somebody online is feedback. Board members, you may want to mute your mics at this time for just a minute. And those that are found on the corporation, on the contract, on the certified contract on page 18, I would recommend those remain at 100% because our staff and teachers will be still providing those services to our students in the month of April and May. Then I kind of move on to high school activities, our spring sports. In my mind, our spring sports, we have not started spring sports. We do have, though, a number of our coaches do a lot of activities outside the season that we ask them to have camps and others. I would recommend that we pay our coaches right now for our high school spring sports list, 25% at this time is what I would recommend paying. If we come back into school in May, we would then reinstitute the rest of those stipends. Others, as you continue through there, I would recommend in other LHS positions, such as class sponsors, that we reduce it only by 25%. We've been in school 3 quarters, so we only reduce those by 25%. Looking at some others, spring sports for the middle school. I know track started, they've had 5 practices, I believe, to date. I would recommend paying the middle school 10% of their stipend because they do not have a lot of the out-of-season responsibilities that the high school coaches have been asked to do. Then also looking at some others, we have not had our co-ed intramurals. I would recommend not paying that. For our academic coaches, I would recommend paying at the middle school 75% of those. They still had the whole month of April and part of May, but I would recommend 75% of those. For our co-ed intramurals at the elementary, it is not started. I would recommend not paying that. Our academic coaches at the primary and elementary school, I would recommend 75% that we pay. Looking at our club sponsorships, I would recommend paying 75%, but reducing it by a quarter because right now we aren't in that 4th quarter or doing those. Those would be ones that I would kind of recommend consideration for the board to be able to give myself that opportunity to look through that and reduce those.
Okay. I do have one question, and then I'll turn it over to the rest of the board. If school starts back, which we're hoping May 1st, then you will readjust those, correct?
That is correct. The goal is if we can come back into school, then we would reinstitute those stipends. But I believe at this time, because we are going to miss the month of April, I think we need to put those on hold. We need to not pay them and put them on hold until we know that they are going to take place, or reduce them as I mentioned. Like I said.
Okay. I mean, me personally, I agree with you on a lot of it. But I do know that there are some coaches that put a lot of time in before their season, and that's part of their pay. But
and that's why I felt like 25%. We wanted to also say we do recognize for the clubs and activities and those that you have put forth leading into your season. That's why I wanted to be able to pay them a percentage.
I personally think we should pay them a little bit more than that. That's me. That's up to the rest of the board. So I'm gonna do roll call, and if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, please continue on. I'll start off first with Mr. Miller.
Remember, you'll have to unmute your mic when he calls on you.
No questions.
All right. Ms. Nance,
I think it sounds fair, no questions.
Ms. Rybold,
I agree, no questions.
Mr. Jansen,
I agree with it, no questions.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Kaniga,
No questions.
do you agree? Okay.
Do you want to get a motion?
Yeah,
Second.
so I need a motion on this. I'm
I
sorry.
believe that was Mr. Johnson. Is that correct?
I'll second it.
That was Mr. Jansen, second it?
Yeah.
All right. So we need to vote on the discussion and consideration of resolution first, or is that all?
No, you already voted on that and approved it.
That's right. I was sleeping.
You're on ECAs.
Yeah, never mind. I'm still asleep. Sorry, guys. On the ECA, Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Nance,
Yes.
Ms. Rybold,
Yes.
Mr. Jansen,
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Kaniga,
Yes.
and I say yes. 7-0.
Thank you. And I think that's just trying to be responsible to our taxpayers as we look at everything. And I'm trying to be fair, though, to those coaches, and I do want to make sure that we compensate them accordingly for services. I do want to just a couple things before I get back to questions. I want to remind everybody that we did send a letter out to all parents. It was a 3-page letter with a calendar at the end of it, which describes what will happen starting next week after spring break for the month of April. We will get to May if needed at the end of April. We're only talking about April right now because we want to be hopeful that we will return in May. But I do want to say, if somebody did not get that letter, it is on our website. If you go to our corporation website, you can get a copy of that. If you contact our office, please contact our office and we will get you a copy. Or your building principal. If you send your building principal a dojo message or an email, they will get you a copy as well. I do want to mention, as part of that information, there was a link within the letter that if any families out there do want to receive meals starting after spring break, you will have the opportunity either to pick up the meals or we will deliver the meals to you. So I encourage you to go in and click on that link and complete the Google form. That way we will have your information. If you have no access to do that, if you call my office at 812-537-7201. But I wanted to just let you know what our plan is after next week, starting next week after spring break. I do want to encourage families that you should be receiving your census 2020 in the mail. Please fill that out. Encourage your neighbors to fill it out. Encourage your family and relatives that live in the area to fill it out, because by filling this out, it will help over the next 10 years. It will impact the funding that schools receive, and it is based upon the population. Other things will be impacted as well, but one of the big things is funding for schools is impacted. So we do encourage everybody to complete this and fill it out. I filled it out this morning, and for the 5 members in my family, it took me 10 minutes to complete the entire process. So I encourage you that when you get this in the mail, the inside the envelope is a code. You go to the website, enter the code, and it's very simple step-by-step to be able to answer the questions. So I encourage you to do that while you have an opportunity. Last, I know that Mr. Schneider sent out information about prom. Unfortunately, prom is being canceled. If we get back in May, we will look at opportunities in May to possibly be able to reschedule. But with prom being the day right after the governor's orders for schools to be shut down, it does not give us an opportunity to prepare for a prom. So therefore, I know that he sent an email out to all the students and parents this afternoon that unfortunately prom is canceled. I did talk to him. There's no need for refunds because I think there were only a couple people who had paid at this time. They will receive refunds, but we don't have to worry about issuing a lot of refunds to students because tickets were not sold yet. And last, graduation. We will address graduation in May. We are hopeful that we will return and that seniors will be able to have their graduation. So at this time, no plans, no decisions, no changes to graduation at this time. It is in May, and we are hopeful to be able to still have a proper graduation for our seniors. And I just encourage, as I put in the letters to parents and families, those that are watching, we are and want to be hopeful in this time. Together, we will get through this. I encourage everybody to post hopeful thoughts, quotes, pictures of activities going on, and put the hashtag Elberg Hope with it. If you want to send me pictures, I'm willing to put those on our social media. But I do encourage you to be able to share those happy, thoughtful ideas at this time. Mr. Mullen, I'll turn back if you want me to look real quick at questions, see if there's any before we want to finish.
Just one more thing, Mr. Gailey, is the Washington, D.C. 8th grade trip. You want to address that real quick?
Sure. I know for the 8th graders, the Washington, D.C. trip, an email went out last week from Mrs. Herbert to the 8th grade families. The 8th grade trip has been canceled at this time. That decision had to be made in order to get almost a full refund. So we have received pretty close, about 90 to 95% refund. We will be able to refund the parents the money that they paid towards the trip. We hope that our bookkeeper and Mrs. Herbert, after spring break next week, will be able to get together and they will start issuing refund checks as quickly as they can, hopefully beginning next week. So again, those refund checks for the money that parents paid to the trip should start to be refunded next week, okay? Any fundraiser money, decisions have not been made towards the fundraiser money. So please, I know there are a number of suggestions and ideas. At this time, we will not be addressing any of the fundraiser money at this time. That money will stay in the Washington, D.C. account. It will not go into a general school account. It will stay there for the time being until further decisions are made.
All right, great. Any other comments from any of the other board members before he goes on to any other decisions? I'll just ask real quick. Mr. Miller?
No questions.
Ms. Nance?
I just want to thank Mr. Gailey for working so diligently to come up with a plan that's best for Lawrenceburg schools.
Thank you.
Mrs. Rybold?
Yes, I agree with the comments, Caitlin. Thank you so much, Carl, for the hard work and committed to the community and our staff. Thank you so much.
I do want to say, kind of with those 2 points, that I can't have done this alone without the support that I've received from my administrative team. So our principals, our assistant principals, athletic directors. I've got 2 tech guys that are sitting 6 feet apart here helping too with our tech needs. I want to thank our tech department as well. I want to thank my administration office for their support too, because they will continue to work and make sure payroll goes out this week like it is supposed to. So I do want to thank our entire staff. We have an amazing, remarkable staff at Lawrenceburg. And I know that our teachers, our classified staff, our instructional assistants, all of our staff, bus drivers will rise to the occasion next week, and they will show our families how dedicated they are to their kids by reaching out to them and making sure they get the assistance they need.
All right. Mr. Jansen?
I don't have any comment.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Kaniga?
I just want to thank everybody. I'm sure everybody stays safe and times are ahead. We just have to get through this. Thanks, Carl, staff, and everybody.
And the only thing I want to say is, I agree. I know that Mr. Gailey has been working very, very hard, and so has the administrative team. And thank IT guys for coming out and making this possible for tonight. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Carl, let him answer some more questions that have popped up. So let's see what we have here.
One question, will there be teacher helping the ones needing extra help learning online? We have addressed this. We have talked as an administrative team, and also we've discussed it with Rod, our special ed co-op, and even our special education teachers and assistants from Rod will be helping provide extra help. So if help is needed from anyone, please make sure you reach out to your teacher first, your principal second, and then reach out to the administration office if you still feel like you are not getting answers or not getting the help you need. I believe that you will see next week our staff will rise to the occasion and provide amazing support to our families. One said our family never received an email for the e-learn. Could someone forward it to them? If you go to our corporation website, there should be a link to the parent letter on there. If not, if you reach out to Mr. Gailey, so if you reach out to me by emailing me, I will respond. My email is kgailey, that's KGALEY at Elburg, LBURG, k12.in.us. So that's kgailey at elburg.k12.in.us. If you email me tomorrow, I will respond and get you the letter if need be. Or you can always message your principal, and your principals have copies of those letters to share with you as well. With the resolution will classified staff only be able to work on e-learning days, or will we have the opportunity to work and be paid for the waiver days also? So again, explanation is you are being paid for the waiver days. So you are being paid for every day, regardless if you only contribute only on the e-learning days, you're still getting paid for the 5 days. So we have that schedule, and if you work on the e-learning days, you're still being paid for the 5 days waiver. That's what the resolution provided the flexibility to pay for limited hours, limited days for that, but still receive the full amount of pay. If you want, we do encourage, and I believe there's going to be a number of teachers or classified staff that will be reaching out to kids or addressing emails or making phone calls even on those waiver days. And we encourage you to do that. Just because it says waiver day doesn't mean that our staff won't be reaching out and trying to see if others need help. That's the last one that I see on here. Hopefully I've addressed all of your questions. For those that are on here and have sent a question, we'll wait just a minute for anything else to come through. So please, if you want, send a quick email or a quick message in the box, and I'll try to respond to it. If I missed it, I apologize. Please send it again. Email me. I'll get you an answer. We'll wait just a minute because I know there's a delay in it.
While we're waiting, I just want to take a moment, and on behalf of the Lawrenceburg School Board Associate, we just want to thank all the classified and certified and let you all know how much we appreciate everything you guys have done, and we will get through this together, and I hope you realize how much we appreciate everything everyone does. Thank you, guys.
I don't see any other questions at this time. I see some comments, but no questions. And thank you. We appreciate the comments that are out there.
All right. If there's nothing else, any board member have anything else real quick?
No.
All right. Mr. Miller? Okay. A little delayed. Ms. Rybold? Mr. Jansen?
No, I don't have anything.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Kaniga?
No, sir.
All right, well, thank you, everyone, and this meeting is adjourned.
Officially got in there.